Okay, cool. Okay, so my name's Alicia. This is Irene, Lindsay, Olivia. We're all coaches on different teams, and we thought we would just jump on really quick, kind of share about why we said yes to coaching, why we love it. And we don't really have a agenda exactly. Like sometimes we'll do these and have like PowerPoint slides. I know next week we're doing one where we're going to do like, 21 common questions answered. But this week we're just going to share our stories, why we got started. And so I'll go first. So I started coaching when I was a total shit show. I was a complete hot mess. Well, to be fair, I've been kind of a hot mess. I've like gone back and forth between like being a normal human and a hot mess since I was probably like a teenager. I'm in recovery. I've been clean and sober. It'll be 10 years in November. But so my addiction, that part of me kind of just makes me like really prone to this like all or nothing thinking, like the doom and gloom. And I think I've struggled with like how to cope with my like big feelings like since I was a kid. When I like have done years of therapy and stuff, it's like since I was a kid I've been having like big feelings that I didn't know how to deal with. And so things got better for a while, especially after I got sober and stopped using drugs all the time. I met my husband, we got married, we had some kids. And then after my third was born, he's 2 now. But like right after he was born, he was like 5 weeks old. We decided to move to Virginia, which is 10 hours from Michigan, where we're from. So I moved away from all my friends, all my family. And you guys, I am like very close with my mom. Whenever we bought our first 2 houses in Michigan, it was like, I wouldn't move to this one side of town. Scott still makes fun of me because it's like, I was like, oh, we can't move to Hudsonville because that's like 30 minutes from my mom. And like, now I'm like, oh my God. So moving 10 hours away was like just a huge like shock to my system. And so shortly after, and like, I kind of self-diagnosed myself with like postpartum depression, just like looking back on it in retrospect. I was like, just, hey, husband. I was just like our whole family, I felt like our whole family was like better off without me. And my marriage was weird and I was really insecure. I was blaming that guy like for everything, like all of my unhappiness, all of my like insecurities. I couldn't lose the baby weight. Like I didn't have any fulfillment in my life. It was all someone else's fault. And mostly Scott. And so, I refused to believe like I couldn't lose the baby weight because of like all the ice cream or candy I was eating, like when everyone went to bed. But yeah, so I have these 3 kids. I feel totally broken. I just kept like waiting. I feel like I was waiting and waiting and waiting for like someone to come and like save me. And it was like, when my kids will find like when like my kids somehow finally bring me happiness, then I'll be fine. And I can be this happy stay-at-home mom like I thought I wanted to be. Or like when my husband gets a promotion again, we get a bigger, better house, and like we don't have any student loans anymore, then I can finally like start to live my life and be happier. Like when my kids get to school, like when they're not here all the time, then I'll be able to love them more. And so I was always like searching for like something outside of myself to like help me figure out how to be happy. And like no one can make you happy. Like that's crazy. You have to figure out what makes you happy for yourself. Like you're the only person that can make you happy. And so I said yes to coaching when I was like a total fucking mess. And I'm sorry about my language. I shouldn't swear like that. It's gross. But coaching saved me, and like it gave me a chance to, I think I wrote a post about it this week actually, because I've been thinking a lot about coaching because we have so many exciting things happening that we're trying to get more people on our team like right now. But so I wrote this post about coaching, about how it really did save me in so many ways. And most of all, it just helped me initially just like get out of my own head. I think that's probably still the best part about coaching, is that like you can't really be worried too much about your own bullshit, like when you're busy helping other people. Like when your job is to help other people with their bullshit and with their own stuff, like it's really hard to like be focused on yourself. And so if you're a hot mess, I guess most likely you're probably not showing up for yourself. You're probably like telling yourself, I just don't have the motivation, or like maybe like you're saying, I'm like I hear this a lot from people too. Like, I'm just really lazy. And I'm like, you're not lazy. Like, especially when I hear it from like moms with like 3 kids, I'm like, there's no way you're lazy. Like, you're a mom with 3 kids, you're doing all the things. You're not lazy. You just don't have a reason to show up for yourself. And so, I think for me, coaching gave me a reason to show up, and I wasn't showing up for myself so much as like I was showing up for someone else, and so you don't show up for yourself maybe, but I bet you anything you would show up for someone else. And so yeah, if you have to show up because someone else is counting on you, even if you're a mess, even if you think you're super broken, probably especially if you're broken, I guarantee you're going to show up for someone else. And so for me, I would let myself down over and over and over. But when I started coaching and I started to like get some people who were like, sure, I'll do this fitness program with you. I was like, oh shit, now I got to actually do this. And I actually have to show up and I have to learn what I'm doing. I have to actually figure out how to follow the nutrition now. And so it gave me an extra like piece of accountability. So I think the coaching thing is just an opportunity, like I said, to get out of your own heads and kind of let go of that victim mindset. But it's also allowed me to work with women, like a lot of the women on this call right now who dream so big, and women that you might get to meet later if you decide to say yes, who are like in real time, like living out their dreams. And I get to watch them do these things, like buy the house, their dream house, like go on the vacation that they want to go on and that they've been talking about, retire from the job that they hate, like all those things that, we set these goals. And actually that's kind of what coaching taught us about too, teaches me about, is like, sorry, I have really bad ADD, so I'm trying to focus. We're doing this mindset course right now, which is really cool because that's a lot of what coaching we focus on is mindset. And so I've been thinking about my goals, and also, side note, goals don't count if you know you can hit them. So like you can't set a goal if you already know you can hit it. So I've been thinking about how to like make my goals and dreams even bigger. And so, okay. I'm on a walk with my husband, which by the way, also like my marriage is fine now. We're actually really, really happy. Coaching probably saved my marriage. But so Scott and I are taking a walk the other day, and I'm telling him about this end of the year goal that I have. And it's like way bigger than what I was thinking. And I just remember him like looking at me being like, well, yeah, but like, what if you don't hit it? And I was like, oh my God, like that is the freaking problem. Like, if I don't hit it, like, okay, why are we so afraid of like not hitting our goals? You know what I mean? I think that's the reason for so long I didn't set goals. I didn't try anything. I stayed stuck in my box. Because I was really scared of what would happen if I said yes to something and it didn't work out or I failed. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. I don't know. If you say yes to coaching tonight, I guess like the only thing is like saying yes and setting that goal, like saying yes to coaching. If you fail at it tomorrow, like doesn't mean you're a failure. You know what I mean? Like your worth does not depend on the outcome, and so like our team, we talk a lot about like you can't fail if you don't quit, and our team doesn't let anyone who has big dreams and works hard fail. Like nobody, like you don't get fired. No one's going to come in and be like, oh, you can't be a coach anymore because like you set this goal and you failed, or there's no requirements, there's no like minimum quotas you have to meet. Like it's all up to you, and it's all about how many people that you want to help. So I'm really excited. My team and I set a goal to help 200 people this year. And originally we had set the goal for 100, and I went back and I like changed it to 200. And I was telling Scott last night too, I'm like, oh my God, like what if we had kept it at 100? We're at like 97 people right now. We've helped 97 people this year. What if we had kept it at 100? I was like, I guarantee we wouldn't be at 97 people. So we might not hit 200 people, but I guarantee we're going to hit more than 100. We're probably going to be closer to like 175. And so I never would have like started to think like that had I not said yes to coaching and surrounded myself with people who think like that. And I've always wanted to be around people like this. I think that's why I always drank, because everyone at college is not like this. They're just bitchy and not fun. I was like, I'd just rather drink than deal with you bitches. So I wish this wasn't recording and I was calling all my college friends bitches. They'll never coach anyway. They don't sign up with me, but it's fine. I'm going to pass it off now because I'm just getting weird. But anyway, yeah, if you have questions, if you want to talk about coaching, you say yes. There's nothing holding you back but yourself, really. So, hi, Jackie. We're just going around telling our stories. So, Lindsay, I'm going to kick it off to you. I'll introduce you really quick. Lindsay is one of my rock star coaches. She's going to try to tell you that I like harassed her and harassed her and harassed her into coaching. And it's just not true. She decided to say yes because she knew she had big dreams and that we would support those dreams. So, Lindsay, you take it away, girl.
You did harass me. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I did Beachbody, I don't know, a couple years ago when I was like in a terrible, terrible place in my life. Just another hot mess over here. And, I was like, I need, like, a lot of things in my life were out of control. And I was like, I need something I can control. I'm going to do this. And I did it. I did all the nutrition, the workouts, all the things, lost all the weight. But like, shocker, wasn't happy, didn't change my life. That time around, I did absolutely nothing to change my mindset. I did no personal development, no affirmations, like none of that inner work. I just wanted to change my outside. And I thought, if I'm skinny, I'll be happy. That didn't work. I also, at the time, had a coach that wasn't as involved, or maybe because my mindset wasn't there, I wasn't taking the opportunities that were there. So I wasn't in any groups or anything like that. Nobody was kind of checking in on me, that kind of thing. And so I, kind of gave up on it. Like, I didn't have, the habits weren't in place. It was just something that I did to get to an end result. And then I didn't keep up with it. And then, flash forward, I was living in Madrid, loving life, and watching Alicia's journey on social media, and saw that like she was keeping up with her journey and also going into coaching and being, successful and super happy with that. And, it intrigued me, but I was like, go her. She reached out to me just about joining Beachbody a few times, but since I was abroad, that wasn't an option for me. But when I got back from Madrid, which was like right when COVID started, I was like the heaviest I've ever been. But like everything else in my life was great. But so again, like Alicia, when I started, was like, what's your goal? Kind of what do you want out of this? And I was like, oh, I just want to be skinny and I'll be happy again. Right. Well, like that didn't work for me last time. And of course she didn't accept that answer. So, basically what I noticed later is like, I just wanted to look in the mirror and think and say things that like my fiance would say to me. Like, and I wanted to believe the things that he was saying to me, because all of the things in my head were negative. And so that became my new thing. I didn't think that it was possible to like love myself and believe in myself, which is really sad. But so I jumped into Alicia's challenge groups and did all the things. But this time I did all the mindset stuff. I stood in front of the mirror and did naked affirmations, even though I thought they were stupid. I listened to podcasts, even though I thought they were stupid, like all the things. And eventually I was like, oh, this shit's working. Like, I would look in the mirror and be like, okay, hey. And I would be at work and be like, dang, like I'm being really productive. And I noticed positive things and other people noticed positive things. And I noticed that I was accepting those compliments and not brushing them off. And I just realized that like, if you actually go all in and stick with all the things, they work. And I started to see results physically, but also with my mental health and just everything in general. And then that just kind of rolled into coaching because other people wanted to know what I was doing, and I would share it with them and then be like, okay, come join me. But I was sending them to Alicia, and then she was like, why don't you just have your own team? So then I started that. So it just kind of happened naturally, just because I loved what like my own personal journey did for me. And I wanted other people to be able to experience that too. And what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Anyway, I don't know. There's something that somebody said that made me think of something, and now I don't remember. Anyway,
Oh my gosh. Do you think my ADD is like a
it's rubbing off on me.
Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Well, I agree with what you were saying. If you think of it, you can obviously like jump in and say it again. Thank you for sharing. I agree with that too. The last part, what you were talking about, like paying it forward is, I think, why we're all here too. So, Olivia, you want to share about why you got started coaching, why you are still here?
Sure. So I'm Olivia, and my Beachbody journey started because I got engaged 3 years ago now. It's been that long. So I got engaged and I don't know. I mean, I was happy, but I wasn't like happy with myself. And I kept thinking in my head, like, my wedding is going to be remembered forever. Like, hello, like you have your wedding pictures and you post about it and everybody remembers your wedding. And I wanted to be like, feel the best that I could on my wedding day. So I started like talking to my cousin, and I are really close. So I was like, hey, like, this is what I feel like, but I don't really feel like that. She's like, let's go start working out. Like, I did sports and stuff in school. So I'm like, working out, like, yeah, I did feel good working out. Like, let's try it. So she got us a CrossFit membership. So I started with CrossFit. That was $130 a month. So if you think like Beachbody is not like is expensive, like you have no idea. And the gym was an hour away. So I did that for 1 month. And yes, so I was driving an hour to work out, doing an hour workout, driving an hour home. That was a 3-hour trip. That was not possible. I worked on a farm at the time. So I was working 60 hours a week, and they had timed classes. So if I couldn't make it to like the 7 o'clock class at night, like it wasn't going to work. So I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But I felt really good when I was there, but I wasn't getting there. So I was like, kind of felt defeated. So I was looking for other options. And those like Anytime Fitness gyms, there's one that's 20 minutes away. So I was like, okay, like here's a gym, like I can try that, like I learned all this stuff at CrossFit. I'll take it to this gym. No big deal. Except when I walked in and you see like rows and rows and rows and rows of like all this equipment that you've never seen before. And so you just stand on the treadmill and watch other people work out. And then it started spiraling down from that to where I just didn't go because I was like, well, I'm not getting anything. Like, why should I drive there if I'm not doing anything? It's like kind of a waste of time. So I kind of gave up on that, and I'm like, well, now shoot, like what the heck am I supposed to do? Because I felt good when I worked out, but I didn't know how to like fit that in my lifestyle. So then this random girl who I've never met before messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, like I saw that you like to work out or whatever, like you should join my team. And so I kind of asked her some questions. And she was like, it's at home workouts, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I'm never really, I haven't stuck to anything, obviously. So I'm like, maybe I'll give it a shot. Like, what can you do to help me? She's like, we have accountability group. I'm like, cool. Like, I like accountability. Let's do it. I joined. That was the last time she talked to me. So she put me in this huge Facebook group with 400 people, and that was it. And I was like, I did 2 weeks of 80-day obsession and quit. And I'm like, this is stupid. I hate it. I was not having fun. And like the whole accountability she talked about, like she wasn't following through with what she was talking about. So I kind of gave up on that. And a couple of weeks later, my current coach messaged me on Instagram and was like, oh, you do Beachbody? I'm like, well, kind of. I'm like, but I already have a coach, but she doesn't talk to me. And she's like, well, we talked about it, and like I just felt like she was a better fit for like what obviously I quit. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't working out. So she was like, well, let's try like my way. So I joined her team, and I've never quit. She checks in every single day, all of this stuff. So like going through that whole scenario of it, I kind of was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I'm getting way more out of this when we actually talk to each other. She offered personal development books, which I don't like reading, but I was introduced to Audible, and you can get like audiobooks from the library. Like, so I could put headphones in while I was at work and I could listen to all this stuff. And I was like, man, I'm like starting to feel super good. And I started listening to all these things talking about affirmations and how you feel good about yourself. and my confidence started getting higher. And then I started participating in her accountability group. So commenting on people's stuff. We were like doing the same workout programs, and it started to become really fun. So I enjoyed working out. I started feeling better. My confidence was getting in like the best shape I'd ever been for my wedding. And I started feeling really good. And she reached out to me, hey, come to a sneak peek. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I'm like, coaching, no way. I don't really like people. So I'm like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm just going to stick in my own little bubble, do my own thing, and just have fun with it. She's like, no, seriously, just come. And so I came, and I'm going to call Alicia out. And Alicia was on the sneak peek when I was there. And I'll never forget, I listened to her story and I cried. Because I was like, oh my gosh, like these people I mean, it was everybody, but like, I remember Alicia's story was there, but it was all of these people were talking about how they were changing their lives and helping others do the same because they were taking care of themselves. And I just felt, I'm getting goosebumps now talking about it. I felt so good. I'm like, okay, like maybe I should do this. So I jumped into coaching, and, I don't know. I never stopped. Consistency is key. But I think the most important thing to me is that I get to take care of myself first. And by feeling my best, then I can help other people. And then you can relate to them. Like I don't like working out every day. Like I don't wake up and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go work out today. Like sometimes I do, but not very often because I'm not a morning person. But when I work out, I feel good. So then I can talk about that. Like I didn't want to get out of bed this morning. Like nobody wants to get out of bed. Or like my husband's over here eating like zebra cakes and like frozen pizza. And I'm like, that's going to make me gain like 20 pounds. So like I learned about the nutrition and how to teach everybody else like the discipline and the mindset that I've been working on for myself. I can like relay that to other people, and the goosebumps and the feeling you get from people who join your team. No, he's not in the 5th grade, but he eats like it. The people that join your team, and when they like message you and they're like, thanks so much for not quitting on me because I start feeling good. Like that makes me cry almost every single time. Maybe I should talk about it more. But, and when people tell me like, no, like I just don't like to get out of bed. I hate myself. Like I did too. Like I got engaged, and remember how I said I was happy, but I wasn't happy. We didn't do date nights. I literally screamed at my husband every single day. I didn't get out of bed. I literally woke up, went to work, came home, went back to bed. He took care of our dog. He cleaned our house. He did everything because I hated myself so much that I was not okay. Like it wasn't good. I mean, I was probably depressed and just didn't go see anybody, but, like all these things started changing, and now like I find myself smiling more. I have more courage and confidence, and I believe that I'm worth something, which never has been a thing before in my whole life. Like my parents are divorced. My dad doesn't talk to me. My mom moved 5 hours away. Like it's literally me and my husband against the world. And like now I feel like we can conquer it. Like coaching has changed everything. And I would not have done this without coaching. And I wouldn't have stuck to it. Like if I didn't have people, like Alicia said, on my team that are like, I show up for them like on the hard days. Like when I don't want to show up for myself, I think, okay, well, so-and-so checks in every day, and so-and-so and so-and-so. And these people watch my stories, and these people do this, and they want to see me showing them that it is possible to change your life. And so that is what keeps me going with coaching. And then it makes it so fun because people, I used to hate people. I still don't really like people, but they surprise you sometimes and they make you smile and they make your day. So like if you join coaching, like it's kind of whatever you want to make it. And obviously like we still have to hear Irene's story, but all of our stories are completely different, and we're still making a difference in other people's lives. So don't think that you don't have people to reach out to. Like I live in a small town. There's population 1,000 people in like the whole town. And I still meet people every single day that I've never met before. So don't think that you don't have enough people or that you don't know how to work social media or whatever. Like my neighbor is cornfield and I still make it work, and it's super fun. So don't like, there's so many things that you could talk about, but coaching is just, it's fun. The people you meet and the community that you become a part of is amazing, and they help you push for things that you never thought were possible. So yeah, I guess that's my story. I don't know.
I love it. I've heard your story before, but I don't think you've ever talked about the like coming home from where I've never heard you share about how you would come home, go to bed in that, like, and then you just like randomly minimize. You're like, I was probably depressed. Like, yeah, it sounds like it. So you're a shit show too. So like, I didn't even know.
We're all shit
Like,
shows.
oh, yeah, it's perfect. It makes sense why we all fit. So I loved hearing your story, Olivia, all the time. I appreciate you coming on and talking about it. So I can't believe I didn't know. It's funny because we all tell our stories over and over and we all tell different parts of it, I think. And then so even though we've all heard it, it's like we hear new things all the time. So I love it. I love you sharing. So all right, Irene, you're gonna close us out. Bring it home.
Well, Linz, what did you forget to say that you remembered now?
Oh, you remembered?
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. Olivia said something that reminded me, but it was something that you said, Alicia, about like, well, what if I fail or I don't hit a quota or whatever? Because that's totally, I think what I was, well, I had a lot of concerns like before I started coaching, but that was, I kind of where my mindset was, because I think with teaching, unfortunately, there was a lot of like, you have to do this and you have to do this by, deadlines and all this stuff. And there was always somebody kind of like harping on me if I didn't do it right, or if I didn't do it in time, or blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, well, what if I sign up for this and I fail? What if I suck? Like, I don't even have time to do this. Like, what if I don't do it right? Or blah, 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 blah. What if I don't get to this number or something and then they're going to fire me, like, but I think that's like, that was a huge relief for me. And like something that even like still keeps me going is that there's no pressure like that like you have to hit a certain number or anything, but at the same time, you have people that are going to motivate you to do that if that's your goal and like based on where you want to go. So like everybody's goals are different and no one's going to expect you to like, you know what I mean, hit a certain number, and definitely no one's going to fire you. And they're like, because we don't have to like spend money to like start this business or anything like that, there's like really nothing to lose. Like if you try and it doesn't work out, then you just keep working on you. Like there's no, you know what I mean? Like you can't really fail, which is good.
I agree.
Okay.
You go.
Yes, I agree. Okay. Yeah, we totally all tell our stories, but we tell different parts of it. And I think it depends on like where we are in the time or like who we've been talking to lately. But it doesn't matter. That makes it fun. So, and I feel like I just take way too long to tell my story anyway, but I had similarities to like all of these stories. Like I did it a long time ago. I didn't connect with my coach. I got super turned off by it, and like boycotted it for like 6 years. And then when I fell back into it, it was not in a generic way. It was like, I was picked to go on the Today Show and do 80-day obsession by myself with this one other chick and Autumn. And like, I didn't have necessarily like a specific coach or a challenge group. Like I kind of just was like, had the accountability of that, but then I started understanding the community part of it. And once I learned about what coaching was, I knew I wanted to do it. And it's really because I was 4 weeks into 80-day obsession. I was like super committed. I was doing the personal development. I was learning and seeing what the community was all about. And I have a background in nutrition. I have a background in personal training. Like I did all of that. It's what I've always wanted to do. Like my old dream was to like open a gym. And so I started getting there. I'm a registered dietitian, but like and I got my master's in nutrition, and then I was working at a gym as a personal trainer. And it kind of got to the point where it was really difficult work. So like, I mean, I was there at the gym from like 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. grinding, like training people. And it was 100% commission. So if I wasn't there, I wasn't making any money. And it just kind of got really, it was fun at the beginning because I had a really good team and I loved my manager. We were like best friends, but then they demoted her and moved her somewhere. And this other douchebag came in and I fucking hated him. He was like the worst dude ever. and I rage quit hard. Like I was his assistant manager, and one day I went and I was like, fuck you, I'm out. And I quit my job. And so I was like waiting tables, and I got to this place in my life where I was like, what should I do? And I hadn't, no, I don't think Beachbody was like, I feel like Beachbody was like still P90X at that point. So it wasn't, it was before I got married. It was like not like I should have gone there, but I thought about being a real estate agent, which I ended up doing later. Like I was like, what do I do? Because obviously like I don't belong in this industry. And it turned into very much something he said to me, actually. None of you have ever heard this. I don't even know that I've like said the story very much, but I went in complaining about the quality of work life. I rage do a lot of things. That's how I roll. I went in complaining because the atmosphere at the gym since he started got really bad, and I was his assistant manager, and I knew the whole team. I was friends with all of them, and everyone hated how he was doing stuff. It was like not working out, and the sales were down, like everything was down. And I went in to like try to talk to him about it, and he asked me if I was like doing my workouts and eating right, and this must be just an emotional reaction because I'm a girl and like I haven't been like on a diet or whatever he was trying to say. Like even though we say that to each other, like the first thing we do when we say we're struggling with our coach journey is, are you following a program, are you doing the stuff? But the way he said it was more like it was very inappropriate. And that's literally right after he said that, I was like, that is not what this is about. F you, I'm not. Anyways, so I was in a really bad place. I relate a lot to you, Olivia. Like I hated myself a lot. Like I had negative self-talk so bad from when I was in high school, and it got worse and worse and worse. And it kept me super stuck. Like I was constantly, that's all I could think about when I was like in social situations, what people thought. My weight would fluctuate, and when I was heavier, I was always super self-conscious. Like everybody was thinking about how terrible I look. And then when I was like losing weight, I was never good enough. And it was this I mean, like for literally 15 years. And then I started having kids, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then that's when the Today Show happened. So it really was like a huge, like, you know, bottom of the barrel feeling into ADD obsession, where I went like all in with everything and felt amazing a month later. And then I knew I wanted to help other people because I know how it feels to not know how or what to do and feel super stuck. So that's like the beginning of why it started. But what I think is a few things that I thought of as you guys were talking, especially because everybody's like, I don't like people that much. Like it's, and people have asked me before, like, don't you get annoyed if people like are always complaining or always saying like how hard it is and whatever? And like, I genuinely, I think number one, like all the personal development that I've done and that we continue doing has just opened my eyes to like recognize how everybody is dealing with some shit in some way. So like it's never us that someone's reacting to, you know, like if somebody says something or does something that's like alarming, it's not my fault. Like it's a reason to dig deeper and figure out what it is that's bothering me. Because 9 times out of 10, it's an insecurity. It's like a deep fear. It's all these things that we're all trying to work through. And if you peel back the layers, you can have a really like intense, serious connection with somebody who a minute ago was like saying something rude or something, you know? So like for me, I've learned, I feel like I've learned more about people, and I've been able to build relationships with people. I mean, like Jackie, my team is made up of 100% people that I did not know before I started coaching. Like, it's not like it's all my best friends and my sister. Like, it's literally none of those people. It's all strangers that I've met that have become my best friends. And so like, that for me, I think in the beginning was, I didn't really think about the consequences because I do things without thinking, like buy a puppy yesterday, but like but I also like, I do overthink and I do worry once I start, then I'm like, oh shit, like how am I going to do, you know, like, and I worry about stuff. So like, it was one of those things in the beginning where I was like, am I going to have to just like harass everybody I know and beg them to sign up and be one of those girls that's like whatever, or, you know, like I didn't understand that people did this with people they didn't know yet, like people that they met randomly on the internet. So it was all kind of like a journey unfolding. You have a coyote for real? That's amazing. So yeah, it's one of those things where you just like learn people's personalities. And to me, I feel like the more I do that, and the more people I connect with, the more I'm able to like understand people better. And that helps me have more confidence in like how I perceive what other people say or are thinking. Cause I always used to take it on as like my fault, or like if someone said something rude about how someone else looked, I immediately would assume that they thought the same thing about me. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really opened my eyes a lot. And that part of it has helped me tremendously to not be so as crazy stressed about like, what are the people thinking? What are they going to think of me coaching? What are they going to think of whatever? And I kind of just said, F it, and just kind of do what I want and deal with the consequences later. But, that was one thing that I thought of when you guys were talking. And then another thing is, I feel like one of the biggest things that everybody says is I'm so busy. Like, I don't know about what it's been about lately, but like anytime I talk to anybody new and I ask how they're doing, or anybody even existing that I already know, or my clients, anybody who's been ghosting, everybody's like, it's been so busy. It's so busy. Like everything is so busy. And in that mindset course, we learned about this too. That busy is basically like an excuse, you know, like life is always going to be busy. And so to me, once I learned like how I could help people, and like what you guys have said, when somebody reaches out to you and they're like thanking you for helping them change their lives, like there is nothing that compares to that. And there's nothing we can say that helps you understand what that feels like. You just kind of have to get there and feel it. But that's when I first started getting messages like that, that was like a huge motivator for me. Like that kept me going. And I wanted to see how many more people I could do that. Like I want to make an impact in other people's lives. Like, especially because the best way for me to do it is by making an impact in my own life. And it literally is just like a trickle effect. So it's more to me about making the time, like understanding how, like why it's important for you, and connecting really strongly with why it's important to you to make this a job and make this an income, and then show up from there. Because otherwise it's easy to say I'm busy. Like I'm busy. I have 3 kids under 8. I have now 2 puppies. You know, like I'm a real estate agent. I'm doing this. I'm trying to do this full time to make it so that I don't have to, like, everybody's fucking busy. Like that literally, who isn't busy? You know what I mean? Like who isn't busy? So I used to laugh because like, I used to feel so big. I mean, like I've always felt busy my whole life. When I was in college and when I was in grad school, I'm like, I don't have any time to do, you know, and now I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? I was like binge watching ER with my husband. You know what I mean? Like we were so busy, but like we watched 70 million hours of TV in a month. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I feel like if you decide, like, if this is something that is exciting and you think that you want to do this, you just have to like connect the dots later. Like you have to jump in and you have to make the time. And as you're going and as you're learning and as you're doing stuff, like find the things that make it really important and impactful for you and hang on to those and make that your reason. Like let that help guide you and help you to not make the excuse that I'm too busy, to not like, to actually make time for it and be intentional with it. And, you know, use it as something that could literally, like Alicia said, we have huge dreams. None of us have dreams of like making a couple $100 extra a month. Like all of our dreams are like multi 6-figure businesses, retiring our husbands, like having a beach house, like, you know, like big, huge things, but it's not like little things. So, Jackie buying a big enough house to buy a bike and house the bike, you know what I mean? Like we got to have big dreams to actually like make it worthwhile. So it's something that like, once you can connect all the dots and it starts to make sense for you, you can figure it out. And we obviously have a team of people that care probably too much a little bit about like you guys succeeding, but it's not like you're doing it by yourself. You're not like getting thrown to the wolves and like having to figure it out. But it is as simple as like, it's really just whether you want to do it. If this is something you want to do and that seems awesome and it like fits well for you, like for me, it checked off all the boxes. I can be home with my kids. I'm doing nutrition and fitness without actually physically having to go do fitness. I'm not having to make any like personal training schedules. I'm literally just like showing I'm like their tour guide on how to do this, but it's still incorporated and I get to focus more on the relationship building. So like it checked all the boxes and it was a no-brainer. And I knew that everything else after that would just be figure outable. So that is my
Yay.
story in a way that I've never told it before.
That was awesome. I love your rage quitting Beachbody story. And Jackie and I were both like, oh my God, do you just rage quit everything? Like when you've quit in your life, has it always been a rage quit or is it? No. Okay, good. Okay, I had a couple
only when I had terrible, only when they deserved it. Only when they deserved it.
Oh, okay. I had some thoughts while you were talking. It's like totally not even about what you were talking about, but I want to just kind of like say these things too. So I think what I heard from all of our stories was that we all came in some kind of like emotional pain or like internal conflict. And, I know Kaylee said this on a call too, like she kind of wrapped it up with like, you don't have to be like a shit show or a hot mess or having some kind of inner turmoil to be a coach. But it just seems to be kind of like a common theme. And I think everybody, so the other day, 9/11 happened, the anniversary of 9/11. And I was thinking a lot about how like suffering and trauma and pain is like part of life. And like 9/11 was such a traumatic event in our nation's history. And I've never been through something super traumatic like that, but you know, thinking about just pain in general, like on the other side of pain, what I think happens is when people come together in like a community, we help each other through that pain. And so that's, to me, I think why this coaching thing works. Like we all come with some form. I mean, everyone, I've never met anyone who like wouldn't benefit from therapy. Like we all have some kind of pain or conflict in our life, and coaching for us in this community, for me at least, has been like an outlet for me to like help other people, but also connect with other people who are open and honest about their pain and are wanting to help other people through the pain that they might still be in. And so it's been like, just, I mean, community, I think, is everything. And we've got, I think, I would argue, one of the best communities in the entire Beachbody network. And so I'm excited for if you guys decide to say yes, if you're watching this recording and you message your coach tonight and you say yes to coaching, for you to meet some of our mentors, because we have the best community. So Olivia, did you have you wanted to say something too? Did you say that you did? It doesn't matter. I thought you said something in the comments.
Yeah, I did. No, I was trying to unmute myself and it wasn't working. No, all I have to say is commit now and we will help you figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like I've heard so many books and podcasts and like all the things that I've listened to where everybody's like, I'm scared and I'm nervous and I don't really know. And you just commit now and you figure it out later. Like you have to start. And the hardest part is starting. And you have this whole community, like Alicia was saying, of women who are here to teach you how to do it. Nobody knew what they were doing until you started. So we just have to like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, smack fear in the face and be like, sit the F down. I'm going to handle this and start. And we'll figure it out later together. Like that's how like this whole community works. So that's all I have to say is you should just commit now and we'll help you later.
I agree. So true. I think when we hear that like voice inside of us, that's like telling us we should do this, we should do this. Like the longer we ignore it, the louder it gets and the more unhappy the rest of our life gets usually when I ignore that inner voice that's telling me to do the right thing. And then I think everyone probably agrees, like, I wish I would have said yes sooner. You know, I wish I would have done it back in 2014 when my coach invited me to, Beachbody. So does anyone else have final thoughts? We can wrap it up or we can. What's that, Lindsay? A stress ball? Are we stressing you out? She's like, oh my God.
She's planning a
No, I
wedding.
just like to
She's
play with it.
stressed.
And
Yeah.
I have to stay muted though, because it makes a farting noise and you know.
That thing is amazing. Well,
No, I think that's it.
yeah, I think so too. I'm glad that you all came on. Definitely reach out to your coach. We can talk to you. Kelly and I can talk to you later just about any questions you might have, but it was good to see all your faces. And if you're watching the recording, why don't you get on live? It's so much better. Our energy. Just kidding. Kidding. Not really. Get on live. It's better. Should I just stop? All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Let's end this now. Just downhill.